Hey guys, we're back and today I'm gonna show you how to do contour that is not scary. So basically what I'm gonna show you is how to do like a minimal contour routine. Instead of that face, like the Kardashian contour, I'm gonna show you how to do a more natural way because there is a more natural way to contour and I use it and I love it. But one that is not so time consuming and that looks more natural, because if you do like the heavy contour, then you go for it, girl or boy. But if you don't, then there is a more natural way to do it, and that is what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I hope I can show you something and you'll hopefully like it. So yeah, if you want to see this, keep on watching. So I've got my base and eyes done, and I'm gonna go start contouring from now on. So I applied a liquid foundation, actually a liquid BB cream, and so a creamy BB cream, and so I'm gonna powder before I do anything else because I've chosen all powder products. So if you're using powder products, then it's just better to put a setting powder before you start using those powder products. And I'm saying powder a lot because if it's creamy, then if you use like a very pigmented contour powder or blush, it can go a little patchy, and if you use a setting powder, then it just provides a more, even base for what you want to do. And today I'm using the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, and this stuff is good even for dry skin types because it's not drying at all, and it just does the job because this works kind of a primer, I guess, because it has kind of a blurring effect and it does leave you with that porcelain skin. It helps really dilated pores a lot, and I have them, so I know what I'm talking about. This is kind of a loose powder, so I just dabble a bit on here, and this is white but goes on like translucent, so I think I've put too much actually, but this is what I put. And I use this Elizabeth Arden powder brush, and I love this because it's very dense, so it goes like to every little place, and I just swirl it and you can see all the powders. And I just I don't want to like swirl it on my face because I have a lot of concealer on. I am really breaking out bad, especially on my chin. I don't know if you can notice, probably, because I'm all bumpy. So I don't want to swirl it because I don't want to, swipe the concealer away. So I'm just patting it in. And especially paying a special attention to the cheeks because that's where I'm going to set all the products. So the first product I'm gonna apply is the actual contour, and I'm using Kevyn Aucoin's sculpting powder in the shade medium, which is the only shade, sadly. This is, this could be a little bit lighter for me, but it isn't that strong using the right tools. So this is a very ashy brown, which is good for neutrals and rosy undertone people. I mean, there's like a myth that all the contour powder should be ashy, but that's actually not true, because if you're very yellowy, if you have very yellow and warm undertones, then it could look too ashy, like it could look dirty, like it's misplaced, like it's not doing its job. But unfortunately, there aren't a lot of products with warm undertones when it comes to contour, but I know that Makeup Geek just released 4 contour powders for warm undertones and 4 for cool undertones, so check them out. And they are like there's a more varied palette, so you'll probably find your color best if you're not kind of like me, because this is mostly for fair to medium skin tones. So but I use this and I love this, and if you are fair or medium, and if you have neutral or rosy undertones, then this is cool. And I'm using the Louise Young LY51 brush, so I'm gonna dab it in a little bit, and I've just gone overboard, so I'm gonna release some of the excess, and then I'm gonna place it on the, I kind of have like a chiseled cheek, just a little bit, but if you don't, what you do is you want to go from here, like the kind of middle of your ear, middle top of your ear, where your ear kind of starts here, to probably, faces change, but what I do is from here to here, and then apply just kind of a line there. But all faces are different. This works for my face, and I know that it just works for me. I don't know. I'm kind of babbling on. I did apply a lot of product though. I didn't know what I was thinking. So I do it there and I do the first line and it's kind of harsh. So what you want to do afterwards, and don't worry if it's kind of harsh at first, because you can buff it out, and with this brush that's just a really good idea. I think it's just a little bit too strong still, but I'm gonna go with the other products and then see in the end, because when I apply the blush and the illuminating powder, they kind of buff this out. But if you do have it a little bit too strong, then you can always use the beauty blender and go over it, because it will just soften the lines down. And I can also do a little bit of the nose here. So now I'm going to use my illuminating powder, and the one I chose was the Mary Luminizer, and you probably heard all about this before, so I'm not going to even go into that. But this is very intense. Mine kind of broke off a little. So I'm going to use the Zoeva 129 Luxe Fan, and this is for if you want a more diffused light, so you just do it up there. Because this is a Luxe Fan, you can't really go overboard, I think. So you just, you know, fan it over. And this gives a very diffused, soft focus lighting, which I love and actually prefer most of the time. But if you want to go intense, and I know that a lot of people do, you can use the Zoeva 114 Luxe Face Focus. And this really packs on the heat. I mean, it's very pointed and very dense, so you want to just be careful with this one and apply it to the zones where you'd get the most light, which is the brow bones and the cheekbones, your cane of the nose. I don't really do the tip because I don't like to see it on myself. I think it just bends my nose and I don't really like it. But you can also do the Cupid's bow. So I'm gonna go with the blush now, and I'm using the Clinique's Glow, which I've talked about and showed you so many times, but it's one of my favorite blushes ever. It's this one, the last one. It's kind of a orangey warm bronze shade, and packing it on a Lord & Berry blush brush. And I love this brush because it's very fluffy. It diffuses the right way. I have a lot of trouble finding the right blush brush, but I do love this one. These blushes are always really pigmented, so be careful as well, but I like it like kind of this way, I guess, but not a lot of heat, but some heat. And then you can see that the harsh line of contour after these two products is already much softer, so don't worry, really. And then I'm gonna finish it off with my bronzer, and I'm using the ColourPop one that I love because it's very cool tones and still warm at the same time. And I just go kind of, not really between, but kind of between the highlighter and the blush. And I'm doing this with the other side of the blush brush, and kind of where the sun will hit you the most, so. And we're done. And this is basically my contour routine, and you can see that it's not that difficult. I kind of see that it's a bit different in the camera than it is on my mirror, so on my mirror it kind of looks perfect, but I'm looking at my tiny little screen and it does look a bit too much, but I don't know. If it is too much, you can always go with the beauty blender, and you can also use like a regular powder brush, and I'm gonna do it just so you can see that it diffuses a lot of the heat. To finish it off, and because you used a lot of powder products, it can look a bit cakey. It doesn't seem so, but it can look a bit dusty and powdery. So I'm using the MAC Fix Plus, and I love the shit out of this. It smells good, it feels good, and it just gives you that non-oily dewiness that I love, because you know, I don't want to be oily because I'm already oily, especially throughout the day. But I don't want to leave the house like all powdery and like totally matte because that's not my thing. And this is the finished look with the lipstick on. And I'm using the Illamasqua Apocalypse lipstick, which I love. And it's great, it's matte, it smells amazing. So if you're looking for that green lipstick that's not exactly, you know, moss green or stuff, this is the shit. And that's pretty much it, you know. I guess I kind of showed you that contour. It doesn't have to be scary and it doesn't have to be, you know, all face clowning, swatching and stuff. It can be just a fun and light thing to incorporate into your makeup routine and still look effortless and minimal and everything natural. If you like this video, give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I will see you sometime next week. So yeah, bye!